So my report's going to be over parenting, about being a good parent, or at least trying to be a good parent. The big thing is anyone who has kids or wants kids wants to be a good parent. I recently became a father of a 22-month-old. So the questions I have are, what school should they go to? What kind of activities should there be in? How do I handle him if he's sick? What kinds of discipline do I need to do? There are many studies on raising kids, some from psychiatrists, some from other parents. We all want to give our kid the best education, wonder what kind of discipline is right, how to interact with them, and how to handle them if they're sick. So let's get on with it. First of all, what kinds of schools should they go to? Should it be homeschool, public school, private school? So let's go over the benefits. Public schools, you have a higher amount of tax-paid education, higher percentage of certified teachers, more teacher training, higher standardized testing, budget for supplies, and the spectrum of the curriculum, as well as the social and economic diversity. Next, you have private school. How's the education purchased? It's usually by the individual. There's a higher curricular freedom. There's a higher motivation for most students. There is higher strictness for the rules, which some people like that. And there's a education that is usually directed towards college. Next, we have homeschool. So homeschool is usually paid for by the individual. It's usually the homeschool space is paid for, sorry, and then it's usually teachers unpaid. Freedoms from peer distraction and higher individual attention, usually because it's just one kid. There's a higher curricular adherence to family values and faith, usually, and there's a much higher social safety. Again, usually being just the fact that it's one kid. Now, my son, I plan on really teaching him that going to public school is going to be best, because I feel that those rules are bad. I feel that the standardized testing is good, and I feel that him interacting with other students is going to be a higher benefit to him in life. Now, even though I said school choice is important, what about daycare, that time from infant to even school? Are they really worth it? We all know that they're sprouting everywhere. I'm going to focus on two quotes. One being, the quality daycare center can be a very enriching experience for your child. Now, that being said, some out there are really just glorified babysitters. They prop their kids in front of a TV and then go on with their own business. Second quote is, no matter how good a daycare center is, it doesn't match the love and nurturing care that a parent can provide the child. Now, this I truly believe. Me and my wife stays at home with my son all the time, and I feel he's learning at a higher rate just because he's interacting with my wife all the time. We also have the issue of monetary issues. Now, yes, like I said, my wife's at home all the time. She doesn't have the job. She does take care of him for her job. But that being said, if she went out and got a job, we'd have to get medical insurance for him, because right now we have the Medicaid for him. We'd also have to get extra food and other supplies, school supplies and things like that, that we just can't afford. That on top of what the daycare cost is. So really, that monetary issue for me is also the biggest reason why he's probably not in daycare. Next, what about interaction with other students and other kids and other people? Well, right now, all he really interacts with is his cousin. His cousin just turned 4, and I feel that at least him interacting with one student is getting him out of that being shy stage, because he is going up to people now and giving high fives and things like that. But as a parent, what kinds of things can we do? Well, there's many things about interacting just alone with the kid. Games like red light, green light can teach them how to obey commands and things like that. Other games like Simon Says do that as well. But interacting with other kids takes a little bit more. And me being a gamer, I don't mind doing that, but me being a gamer, I will be teaching him probably some video games, but I didn't even know that there are video games that actually teach this interaction skill. Games like Mario Sunshine and Animal Crossing are one of them. I don't really know much about them, so I can't really discuss them, but at least I know that they're there. But other things that they can do, playing outside, rolling a ball back and forth, picking up a toy and handing it to another kid, those little things right there, my son and his cousin actually already do. They do roll a ball back and forth, which is kind of adorable. You know, the one thing all parents focus on at least are that we need to teach them what to do after the game and during the game and before the game. So that being said, about being a good winner. The big thing is you shouldn't brag about it if you win. You shouldn't relish that idea. The other thing is being a good loser. Congratulating the winner, not blaming other people that they were hurt. The other thing is respecting the referee. So if they're on one of those real outdoor games, they need to not yell at the referee if they made a bad call or even a good call. During the game, they should encourage and help less skillful players if they're one of our skillful ones. If they're one of the less skillful ones, hopefully that happens to them. And then resolving conflicts, not going to teachers. So, that being said, with all the games, what about the players? Well, the child area should be clean, child-proof hopefully, should avoid overstimulation, and big thing for me now that I know this is leaving up the constructions if it's one of the Lego sets or something, so that they can play with it later. Also, picking up and making it easily accessible is good. Now, the toys themselves always make the child pick up. Always appeal to more than one age group, and that one I actually already do, so I'm surprised that I was doing that one without reading all these reports. And you should use toys that have tested time, being simple things like trains and Legos and little things like that. Toys that further skills and learning, so of course books with sound, little things like that work great, but other things, anything that can involve motor skill development, anything that can involve science, those are all good toys if they're willing to participate in them. Now, if they happen to be a little older and watch TV or trying to do little things like that, how much screen time is good? Well, all the good reports out there have shown that 1 to 2 hours is really good for screen time. We should encourage outdoor activity, though, as much as we can. That's why I'm glad that commercials like that Play 60 have been out there, so they show that kids should do that outdoors. Anything with arts and music and science and building and motor skills and all that, they're great. So focus on them because they work much better than just a TV. And also chores. Now, I put it in there as that way because, cleaning the house, mopping the floors, little things like that. If kids can learn to do that early, it'll help them later in life as well. And even my son right now, it's funny, but he'll go and get a mop that my wife has just used, and he'll start mopping the floor again. So he's actually already having fun with that. Now, let's come to the painful subject of what to do if they're hurt. So, first thing and foremost, a fever itself. I want to discuss what I found out what that means. And it is just a signal. It is not the cause of the harm. So, what kind of fever is really the worst one to have? Well, if they're under 3 months, anything over 100.5, call your pediatrician. Period. If they're over 3 months, you should only call if you sense harm. Whether it's 100.5, whether it's 105. If you feel they can't sleep throughout the night, call your pediatrician. If you feel they're not going to break it, call your pediatrician. There's no harm in calling. Now, finding a doctor open that late, you'll probably have to go to an ER. So what kind of thermometer should we use? Well, you have a digital multi-use, which rectally is the most reliable temperature to get. But you also have other areas you can do with armpits and foreheads and things like this. The digital multi-use is only for the armpit or the rectal duct. Now that one should be used anything other than 3 months or over, but it is still good to do the rectal one. You also have a temporal thermometer, which those check the temple areas of your head. They check the heat that comes off it, and those should be used on any child over 3 months. You also have a tympanic, which is your ear. So it checks the inner ear, and that one is over 6 months. Now that one I do not own, even though my son's almost 2. We usually do the rectal thermometer and the temporal thermometer. Now the big thing is, do not use the same thermometer for each one. I know it sounds silly, but of course most people should know that. What about if they're hurt? Well, the big thing is, do not overreact. Meaning, if you sense that they're hurt, don't just start screaming, because they'll react to that. They'll do the same thing. Allow the kids to come to you. Even if they're pretending, allow them to at least allow you to at least comfort them. You should ask little questions. You know, oh, you bumped your head. Oh, and it hurts. And just keep talking to them. The funny thing is if you just keep talking to them, eventually they just start going on their own and they forget about the pain. And lastly comes a controversial subject. So I'm going to start with that quote that I saw in the book, which was, many parents feel spanking is necessary. And in a way, I do too. I mean, there have been a couple of times where I have just given my son a little pop, and he understands what it means. But I'm going to focus on what the book calls the 3 F's. So that is firm, fair, and friendly. So firm, you have to state consequences clearly and stick to them. Fair, punishment fits the crime. So if it's the same punishment that you're given over and over again, make sure it's for them doing the exact same thing the next time. Meaning, if they hit a kid and you give them a 2-minute timeout, if they hit another kid the next day, you don't give them a 3-minute timeout. Give them the same time, 2 minutes. And the last thing is friendly, which means you need to praise them when they're good. Now, this one we do all the time with my son. And I don't give him little trees or anything like that like you would a dog, which I'm sure I will later. But that being said, right now it's little simple things like him throwing away a piece of napkin that he used for his plate. He'll walk into the trash and throw it away, and we'll just go around the corner and just start clapping. It's a little reward for him, and he loves it. So in conclusion, parents are faced with many things, wondering if they're a good parent. Education, daycare, interactions, being sick or hurt, and disciplines. There are many choices parents have in raising children. And hopefully we all make the right choice. Some will, most will. Many parents wonder how to be good. As long as they are a parent, and as long as a parent is home, I think this is all the children want, as long as they have that interaction. And I'm saying that because, for me, I didn't have my father there, and I've always wanted that, and I plan on doing that for my son. I plan on being there no matter what. Thank you.